Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of After the Hype. This time on the chopping block is the OnePlus 3. Now for me, it took a while to do this with the OnePlus 3 because I was so intrigued by so many other devices that I have. And at first glance, I wasn't too impressed with the OnePlus 3, to be honest. I felt like it looked like an HTC One and an iPhone got together and this was it. Well, on record, I'd be wrong about some things. Now, HTC and the iPhone didn't get together and produce this product because this product is actually fantastic. And I think it far exceeds the iPhone in a lot of ways. And it may, how much, I was on before I get going, I think AJ said it best in another vlog. He said, it's a square, how much can you actually change it? Shout out to AJ for that comment, I really appreciate it, but he's right. And I think you probably heard that other than him saying it as well, but it's just a rectangular square type deal. So how much can you actually make it look different? Well, with the OnePlus 3, they decided to give it a beautiful screen, a thin body, slim frame, 5.5-inch display, 16 megapixel camera, which shoots really, really well. This is actually a really good device. And I've gone on record when it first launched and said, I probably wouldn't pick it up and that I wasn't too impressed with it based on what it was offering for the 400 bucks because I knew other phones were coming at that price point. And, they're here. And some other phones offer a little bit more. But the OnePlus 3 is actually a stellar piece of hardware and the device is actually very, very well. It performs very, very well. I actually want to start with just the overall experience I've been having with the OnePlus 3. Now I keep it in this case here, but for this video purposes, I took it out of this case. This product is by far one of the fastest phones I've ever dealt with in day-to-day performance. Eric from Easy Computer Solutions said it, several other people have said it on record, and they're right. The OnePlus 3 performs very well, but I have other devices that perform very well too. However, this one is very, very fast. I mean, fast. The fingerprint reader is ridiculously fast. I mean, you just touch your finger on there and it's done. That's crazy. That's just, I don't even know if that's a millisecond. I don't know. It is ridiculously fast. You see how fast that is? That's crazy. But, we only need to unlock our phone once and then we get into it and we start using it. But how has it been for day-to-day usage? It's been phenomenal. The fact that I can have this phone on deck like this as a daily driver and not worry about it crashing certain applications, that's been really good. I've got a slew of devices laying right here, but this phone right here, you'll see a battle against several phones, and here's two in particular that I'm going to put it against, the Moto Z and the Axon 7. You'll see this battle coming soon. But for now, I want to tell you how great the OnePlus 3 is. After the hype wore off, first of all, this is kind of a reverse. I wasn't really too hyped about this phone. I got the VR set that I got that limited VR set that they had put out, and I was, when I saw it, I was on the verge, I was on the fence about ordering it. Then after I thought about it, I thought, I got plenty of other devices that can do this, that are pretty much will perform the same, and I didn't buy it. So here we are a month or two later, maybe a month and a half later, I guess, since the launch, almost 2 months later, and I'm using it. And I'm happy to report that I'm actually pretty happy with it. Performance is great. Screen is beautiful. And you guys know how I do it. I make a wallpaper for all of my phones, and I put the name of the phone on the wallpaper. And then I might do something different on the front, like this, but I like a dark wallpaper. And with the OnePlus 3 having an AMOLED display, it's like a borderless. You can't even see where the screen ends. It's like it wraps around. It's just gorgeous. The camera has been good. I'll take a photo here. I have it set to double tap the home button for my photo. And I'll pop that up. But the rear camera is good. The front camera is stellar. And I'll pop that up. To my surprise, I was really shocked at this device. Now, is it worth $399? I'll go on record, it is worth $399. it's actually a pretty phenomenal piece of hardware. Reason being is because it has all the internals of this phone right here, which costs almost double. $625, $400. $625, $400. So it's just one of those things that you're gonna have to take my word for it, I guess. Now, right now, to me, this is the top phone for hardware. I think it's much better hardware than this phone. This is my opinion. I think it's better hardware than this phone as well. But that's just my opinion, okay? This is all my opinion. I like this hardware better than this hardware. And I like what Motorola's doing here. I think it's really sweet. But this hardware right here, we've seen it before. That's what makes it work. That's why it's good, because we know it's tried and true and proven that this hardware can survive. Now, one thing I will say about the hardware, I like what OnePlus has done here. They've put all my controls, things on the bottom. I like my headphone jack down here. The speaker is down here, which I think is really good. This speaker, by the way, is really, really loud. For it to be a bottom firing speaker, it's really loud. You got your microphones down here. This overall body, this overall appearance and how they put this phone together is actually really, really solid. They did a fantastic job on this hardware. Why, to me, it's not the most impressive hardware, but it is good, and it definitely will get the job done for in-hand feel. Now, I keep a case on it because I want to protect this stellar hardware. I don't want it to break on me. But like I was saying before, after the hype for this phone is kind of in reverse, because I wasn't hyped to begin with. It kind of teetered off really fast after I saw the event, and I've stepped away from it because I felt like other things were coming that I would be more impressed with, like the Exxon 7. So now I give you the after the hype for this phone. The cameras are fantastic. The screen is just gorgeous. The hardware is top tier hardware. The overall build is really nice. And the dash charging, man, if you think that your phone charges fast, I gotta tell you, this technology, dash charging that they're using, and they're just naming it dash charging, but it's just a really fast charger. It charges really, really fast. I mean, really fast. Definitely less than an hour and 5 minutes, I would say, and you can be back up to 100%. Less than an hour and 5 minutes, you can be back up to 100%. Easy. Something that people don't talk about much in videos when they're giving kind of a short overview is phone quality. I haven't had any drop calls. This phone has voice over LTE. It has the capability. And that's really good. People always ask me what my carrier is. I actually use multiple carriers, but my main carrier is T-Mobile. And with this phone using on T-Mobile, it's a dual SIM phone. Using this phone on T-Mobile, I haven't had any problems, none whatsoever. Everything has been great. Sometimes the signal will go down from LTE to 4G, but the speeds are the same. So, it's still fast, depending on what I'm doing. It's still really fast. So, I haven't had any problems with that. Again, performance is great. Cameras are great. The overall build is just premium, top notch. And like I said before, it's not the best premium device, or it doesn't feel the most exciting, or look the most exciting, I should say, but it is good. They did a good job on this, and I'm pretty excited about it. One thing I don't like, now it's got a shift here, I'm not just going to praise it. One thing I don't like is the camera settings. It took a minute to actually figure. Now, I laughed at someone else for not being able to figure out some camera settings, but man, I gotta tell you, when I opened this phone up, I was like, how do you change the resolution, and how do you do that? It's just not there. There's no there's no easy way to go about how to change it. But when you go into video, I wanted to change the video from 1080p to 4K, and for the life of me, I just could not figure it out. I am telling you. Finally, I saw the little icon there, and I was like, oh my gosh, finally. I do not like how the camera set. Now, just that one thing, the camera's good. Just that one little piece of section there, I was so frustrated with trying to figure out how to change the camera settings to 4K. And you know what's weird? I couldn't find it anywhere online. I couldn't find it anywhere online how to change that. Everybody just raved about how great it was. And I was like, I can't even figure out how to change it from 1080p to 4K. But I figured it out. So that's a good thing. But nonetheless, man, after the hype for the OnePlus 3, it's actually very impressive. Would I recommend it? I sure would. Now, this isn't my full review, but I always do after the hype because it does kind of wear off. I've actually been using this straight through for about 3 days now. Even though my unboxing went up a long time ago, like I said, I just kind of didn't use it. I didn't have it to use, so I was using all these other phones. I just was more excited and more intrigued by phones like this. You know, this was really exciting. And yes, I still have all the other phones. I put them here just in case I want to talk about them during the video, but I still have them, man. And people ask me about the J7 a lot because I really pushed the J7. The J7 is a phenomenal phone and it's still on deck. My Moto G4 is still on deck. All these phones are still on deck. When I'm using a phone, I want to give my full attention to it. And that's what I'm doing right now. But the OnePlus 3 is, the OnePlus 3 equals 4. That's what I have it. That's the way I have mine. It's the OnePlus 3 equals 4 to me. It's a good phone. And I'm really impressed with it. I think they did a stellar job. It may be worth $399, but I don't know that I'd want to pay $399 for this in the likes of a phone like this. The Axon 7 to me offers a little bit more. I mean, these benchmark, I didn't, even though this phone has 6 gigs of RAM, I put up the benchmarks for this phone online against these other phones, and they all benchmark the same because they have the Snapdragon 820. Because some people were saying this is the fastest and best phone on the market because it has 6 gigs of RAM. After that, you have to stop and think about GPU. That's one thing you need to think about. Now, this phone does very well with RAM management. They fixed that. The 6 gigs of RAM is there, and you do get all of it. But, you know, it doesn't affect the battery. I'll shift to the battery in a second here. It doesn't affect the battery to me at all. That was their excuse the first time, I think. But I've been getting pretty good battery life, averaging about 4.5 maybe. That's pretty good. About 4.5 to 5. Hopefully I'll be able to get 6. Some people have said they've gotten 9. And I'm sure it's possible, but I doubt I'll ever get 9 out of this. I can get that out of my J7, but definitely not out of this. But I've been pretty happy with the battery life. The dash charging makes it all better. With this dash charging, it charges so fast. And sometimes I don't even use the dash charging. I just grab my Motorola USB Type-C and just pop it in, and it still charges fast. It still charges fast. It really does. So after the hype, yeah, I'm a little hyped. I'm not as hyped as I thought I would be, but it's actually a really solid phone for the price. You're getting, it's not future-proof. Some people might think it's future-proof, but I don't think so because the hardware to me, it doesn't have a Quad HD display, which that's not something you need. That's a preference for me. You have to remember that. That's just a preference, and we all have our preferences. But it does have USB Type-C, and, you know, it's got 6 gigs of RAM. Could it be future-proof? It could, but there's no external storage. I don't know. It's good for now. So, you know, I don't feel cheated in my purchase. You know, I think I'm getting a pretty good deal here with this phone. But I wouldn't recommend it. I have to go on record again. I wouldn't recommend it over this phone right here. They're the same price point, and I would not recommend this phone over this phone because this phone feels really good in the hand. Really good, and then those dual front firing speakers just make it all the better. Oh my gosh, I'm telling you. And this has AMOLED as well. So, and you know, to me, this one feels a little bit heavier, but you can't really tell. You know, the rounded body and everything, they both have USB Type-C. This one has a fingerprint reader on the back, which is what I prefer, but I still like this. Thanks to Samsung, they've got me used to the front fingerprint readers, and the iPhones got me used to the front fingerprint readers, but yeah, this is a phone that I'll have a review up pretty soon on it. I'm going to continue to use it. I'm not going to not use it. I'm going to continue to go through and use it probably to the end of the week or so. And maybe just continue on using it until I feel like switching to something else because I have multiple SIM cards that I use for phones. So, yeah, I've been pretty impressed with it. It's really good. So it's your man Jay Will. After the hype with the OnePlus 3, how do I feel about it? Yeah, I like it. It's good. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.